I know it's early and no one's going to see this, but if I don't get this off my chest right now, I'm going to scream and my entire day is going to be ruined. A lot of these takes about men's issues and problems are terminally online takes by people that really do not socialize all that much. People are trying to say that the left is not talking to young men and that the left is leaving young men behind and, we're just not talking to them enough. I'm sorry, but if we're supposed to be progressives and people that are supposed to change the status quo and we are supposed to progress society, do any of you realize how much of the right and right-wing bullcrap is the default in our society? We are talking about overturning and changing years upon years of societal programming, things in this country that have been perpetuated since this country's inception. Women belong in the home. A man's worth is tied to how much money he brings in. So much of this is just by default programmed into us, and it's literally just embedded within the society that we live in and within the systems that we operate in. The reason why so many leftists get so pissed when big figures like Vosh and others say that the left is not talking to young men is because of the fact that we are. We are talking to young men. We're trying our damnedest to talk to young men. The problem is that young men are either A, not talking to us, B, not listening to us, C, just dismissing the things that we say. This creates a weird feedback loop to where it looks as though the left is either A, not talking to men, or B, not doing correct or good outreach work and advocacy. And again, that's just not the case. Like, we're always talking about toxic masculinity and the way in which it negatively impacts everyone, but including and especially young men. Because the reason we call it toxic masculinity is because it's things that are toxic to the man. Whenever we talk about these kinds of things, men just knee-jerk. And instead of acknowledging that toxic masculinity is something that's hurting them, a lot of these men take toxic masculinity and try to use it to empower themselves. They double down on their toxicity and just say, this is how I'm supposed to be as a man. Ugh. It's like drowning in a tar pit. A lot of these big words like toxic masculinity and patriarchy really scare a lot of these men. So they just knee-jerk react to it rather than listen to us and just hear us out and hear what we have to say. Or they Ben Shapiro's Sea Lion and pretend like they're listening, whereas in all actuality, they're just trying to get a debate. And if facts don't care about your feelings, then it does not matter how you feel about big words like toxic masculinity or the patriarchy and how they might scare you. That does not change the fact that these things exist and that they're real, that they negatively affect you and everyone else around you. Like, I've literally met people that have said, well, I don't bring up toxic masculinity or the patriarchy or capitalism or feminism or anything because that just doesn't really seem to work with young men. So the whole point of the conversation, you can't talk about? It's not that we're not talking to them. It's not that our message is bad or incoherent. It's that these people simply do not want to listen to us.